Hey, everybody. Welcome to Don't Make Me Come Back There. We are a funny podcast about family. My name is Dustin Nickerson. I'm a stand-up comedian and the host of the aforementioned podcast. And alongside me in our state-of-the-art recording studio is my lovely wife, co-host of the podcast, cover model, CFO, all-around great gal, Melissa Nickerson.
Hey there.
And we have a third with us here today. We have a very special guest. You know her from being one of the biggest comics in the world.
That's right.
She's big everywhere, particularly TikTok fame. Everybody, Taylor Tomlinson is here. I don't know. I'm so used to hosting.
I know
that I really set that up. Like there would be a clap there.
You spoke so quickly. I was like, this really does feel like the intro to the shows on the road when you started.
Yeah.
Would you still read off your phone very professionally? But I don't even think you need the script anymore.
No, I can try it right now. Let's see if I
can
need
do
the
it.
script. The lights go down. It's really not. Here's how I know it's going to be a good show. The lights go down and the music turns off. If they cheer right then, I'm like, okay, pretty good. Mm-hmm. And then I'll turn on my announcer voice and I'll go, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Have It All tour with Taylor Tomlinson. And they'll cheer, like, Chicago, we can do better than that. How are we doing tonight, everybody? Woo! And then, I go, beautiful. Before we get started, as a reminder, please turn off your cell phones as video recording of any type is strictly prohibited. In addition, no shouting, yelling, talking, heckling, anything of the like. Your job is to sit back and laugh. That being said, are you ready for your opening comedian tonight? Get over Comedy Central, The Late Show with James Corden. Everybody make it loud for Dustin Nickerson.
That was very impressive.
Thank you.
That was very good.
And then I say to myself, be loose, be generous, be positive, and I check my fly and I go on stage.
Do you tell yourself that every time you go on stage?
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Be loose, be generous, be positive. Yeah,
That's so nice.
And then I'll go
for life.
talk about how my son can't be a cop because he gets too good at grades. So it's not that positive.
Oh my God.
But as a demeanor, I heard Seinfeld say that once, that he said what we do is very generous, and I try and think more about that. Of like, I have no contempt towards you guys. I got a thing.
Yeah.
Like I got
You
some,
paid. You paid to be here.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a good show. I got some jokes that are very funny traditionally in the right environment when you pay attention to these things. So yeah, I guess I do, but I don't want to I don't want to slip on it, and because I would say the announcing, the pre-show announcement, I would compare it to being like when you officiate a wedding, you can only do bad or do fine. Like there's no doing good. You know what I mean? Like you can only, if you mess up, it's like, ooh, this sucks. Like I messed up. Plus, I have to.
It's a job.
It's a job.
Yeah.
And my first joke is about how it's me who did it.
Yeah.
And if I messed up, that would be embarrassing. I guess I don't know. I don't know why.
If you mess up, you're fired. Let me be clear about that. It sets the tone for the entire evening.
You actually have Laura Peak's contact right there.
I do.
And you're like, if he misses,
I'm like, give me a reason. I'm sitting here going, be generous, be grateful, be loose, fly, and I'm going, give me a reason, Nickerson. I'd love some fresh blood out here.
Yeah, that's only
no one else is gonna put up with my shit.
That's only if we have a road spat. Now, you know, which we did.
Did you tell Mel about the fight we got into?
I heard you spat, but that's all I know.
Yeah. It was
it was so brief and so stupid.
Yeah.
It was so dumb.
Give your recap of it.
Yeah. Give your version of what happened.
Yeah. And then we'll see.
Go first.
Yeah, go first.
Yeah.
It was in between shows in Dallas, and so Dustin was out in the lobby doing his whole song and dance. I have kids, buy my book. And look at my wife, she's so pretty.
You say that.
I do.
Say that.
It's such an honor to be this close to Mel. When every night at work I talk about how hot she is to thousands of people.
That's
people
great.
Every
she literally
night.
says, if nothing else, go look at the book to see how hot Mel is.
I do.
People do. They go,
Wow.
oh, she is hot.
I do. I go.
I don't tell her
for
that.
no other reason, buy this book just to see how hot Melissa is up close. I go, if you're in the
That's so sweet.
balcony, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to buy the book.
Yeah.
And it works, and it's costing me merch sales probably. Honestly, I gotta get a hot wife. But
I just have to stop selling candles because they break.
I know. Look,
She sells candles. Andy's in like the punk rock music scene, and she sells candles as merch. You see that a lot in the punk scene, the candle merch.
Well, if I try to write a book, my spirit will break. So I gotta like, can I swear on this? I didn't even ask.
Yeah.
I won't swear.
No,
for your
you can
audience.
swear. We got
do it.
Big Andy here.
Bleep.
Melissa,
You
just
gonna
do it. Be bad.
Do it.
Okay. So I was in between shows, and it was the night Chris Rock's special aired live. And, we don't really watch specials very much, but you're like, this is live, and it's Chris Rock. Like, you're going to watch it. So Dustin was out in the lobby, and I didn't think it was going to be immediately available, so I thought I had to watch it live. So I had it on live, and he comes back when it's like, I don't know, 15 minutes in, and I had it pulled up, and then I also was looking at Twitter to see what Twitter was saying about it. And Dustin comes in real hot because he's just had a bunch of divorced moms stroking his arm, telling him how funny he was, asking, how married are you? So he's coming in with a lot of energy. And he's like, are you on Twitter watching a special? And I was like, yeah, I just wanted to see,
what people are saying.
What people are saying. And he goes, if someone watched your special like that, you would be so angry. And I go, this is a live special. This is what they want. Like,
Is
this
to
is the reason they
engage with it live.
Yeah, I'm seeing if this is working. And
Yeah.
he's like, no, if someone watches your special like that, you'd be furious. And if you're not enjoying it, then I don't want to watch it with you.
Yeah.
Because I want to enjoy this.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you serious? And then I got really like snippy where I just went, fine, no, I'll turn it off. No, you're right. You don't want to watch it.
Right.
That's fine. I'm going to put in headphones. I put in headphones.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll watch it.
I took my salmon tacos and I ate on the other side of the green room. Like I walked as far away as I could without leaving the green
And then you
room.
were like,
Yeah.
I'm going to eat them over here. And then I'm like, I want to watch the Chris Rock special.
It was 3.5 minutes
Max.
that this lasted. And then Dustin starts going, you do this. You told me you do this.
Yeah.
You shut down the arguments and you go, fine, no, that's how you feel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I told you that in confidence.
She's
And he goes, no, you're doing something that you've told me you do and you're working on.
Yeah.
And so finally I was just like, with headphones in, and he's like, all right, okay, I'm sorry, we should watch it together. And I go, are you sure? Do you really?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, we should. And I go, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm sorry, we fought. And then we spent the rest of the night apologizing.
I think we spent more time apologizing than actually fighting. Yeah.
And then we watched it together. We watched the
Yeah.
rest together.
It
on my
was true.
phone.
That it was because you had told me, I think the weekend before,
Yeah.
that you hit a point, and we talk a lot about conflict on this pod, in a fight in a relationship where you go, you're done with the fight.
Yeah.
And you
This
just
isn't
go,
worth it.
and what you say, and specifically what you go is you go, no, you're right, which is so mean. Because you never said it to me where you're like, no, that's fine. You're right. And I'm like, oh, you told me this is what you do. You don't actually think that.
Well, yeah, because it's like, in my mind, it's not mean. In my mind, it's like, this is not worth us being upset.
Right.
So I'm going to end it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just, you're right. I'm sure you're right on some level.
That's not
you're
what
right.
it feels like.
I'm sure it doesn't feel that
Yeah.
way. But in my head, that's how it feels in the moment.
like a peace offering in your.
It is. In
your
my head, it's as close to a peace offering as I can get.
I will tell you, on the receiving end of that, it does not feel like that. It feels like
passive.
I'm done. I don't care about this. I don't care about you.
I don't care about this because I care about you.
Oh, that's
what it is.
Yeah.
It's me going, I don't care enough about this fight.
Yeah.
I care about our friendship.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to deal with this fight.
Yeah.
Because I just want us to be fine.
Right.
Again.
Right.
We just get back to that.
Yeah, that's funny because you do a similar thing in fights where you will I think we both have a desire to get out of the fight, but I'm like, but the issue has to resolve.
You want resolve like ASAP.
Yeah, I can't stand the thought of someone being mad at me.
Right.
Yeah, and I need time to decompress.
Well, you
and
two are the same in that
process
way.
and,
Yeah.
get back out of crazy,
Get
red-
out of crazy.
The red zone.
The
Yeah,
red zone. Yeah. Yeah. That's why I'm so scared of when Dustin eventually leaves me, because I'm like, who's gonna be able to deal with me?
I think a lot of people. I think that you undervalue yourself professionally still. Timeline, I don't know when this is going to release, but I have, I'm going to be on TV, so I have to miss a date.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and you're very gracious about that when we called you.
obviously.
Yeah.
right. And
Hey.
it is TV, but I told Mel, and I was like, if I had to choose between the whole weekend and the TV spot, then I would do the whole weekend. Because a weekend with you is more valuable to me in every sense of it, monetarily, finance, peace of mind, fan base, all the things.
Yeah.
It's more valuable to me. And but you were very gracious, but you still have old insecure comic in you that you're like, I don't want anyone to go far out of their way. And I was like, people would pay you to do this spot. People
to open
for you, open it. But that's a new, because your best friend opens for you.
Yeah.
And so I don't think you quite realize. It's hard to remember, like when Regan asked you to open for him when you started, you're like, I would do that for free.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I would just do one, but I don't know. I felt bad asking someone to just do one night.
Yeah.
And like not the whole weekend.
They would love it. They would love it. You know,
I'm glad it worked out.
At least a real comic would. Shout out Steve Rogers.
A real comic.
Yeah, Steve's going to be great.
Steve,
Yeah, it's a great
I'm glad
opportunity.
that routing worked out for him too.
Yeah. Whatever you need to tell yourself.
You said that.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Okay, see, I got scared.
I love
I was
it.
like, oh no.
It's a very old school, it's a very young, like, we think that way as comics, that you're like,
I make
part of me that's still young.
yeah.
Insecurity. The rest of me is decaying rapidly.
Yeah.
As Dustin likes to remind me.
That's a fun word. My body is decaying. It's
Yeah.
it's a new bit. We're not going to do the new. I can't reveal these things. Go ahead.
You called me old during the crowd work
On
portion
stage.
of the show. On stage.
On stage.
And I had to clean that up afterward a little bit.
Yeah.
People did it. I remember that was the show. I was like, Dustin and I are brother and sister,
Yeah.
and we are going to say things
Yeah.
that we think are very funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one needs to feel bad. Okay? I'm like, people get uptight
Yeah.
sometimes when we're too mean to each other.
Yeah.
on stage.
Yeah, y'all
Yeah.
need to chill out.
Yeah. Yeah. I said, we're the same age.
Yes.
And I made a joke. I was like, you're 29, which is a Hollywood 40. And they
Yes.
go, oh.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, this is only funny in our sick world.
Yeah, that would have killed in LA though.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
save it
Yeah.
for the Pantages. April 29th and 30th.
yeah.
Save it.
There's
for
no
the
tickets left.
Pantages.
Is
There
there?
might, I don't know.
There might be.
There might be for one of them.
I'll tell you where there are tickets left. The Nightcap, Father's Day. Which is a 50-seater, which is, we'll
That'll
have a
be
good time.
so fun.
We'll have
I love Nightcap.
I think this ties into one of the things that you've been talking more and more about in your act, and we've been talking about more on the road, is you have reached a level of like contentment of like, hey, the single life, maybe the no kids life. There's because I feel like a decent amount of the road that I've worked with you has been like a relationships discussion, and I want to be married, and I want to meet my one, and I want to have kids and these things. And some of that probably comes from, old school raised, super conservative. Like that's what a woman's purpose is, which I agree with that sentiment.
I mean, don't we all?
It is for you to quit comedy, take somebody else's last name, and learn how to cook better. And, as the Lord intended.
Yeah.
But there's been like a shift for you feel like lately, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I still would obviously I would still like a long-term relationship. The marriage thing makes me more nervous than it used to because I have money now. And I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, you're like Googling prenup.
Yeah. I mean, I was always going to get a prenup, but what really shifted is I've always wanted kids. And recently I've been like, I don't know that I want to have, it's not that I don't want kids, is that I don't want to have them.
Right.
Right. I say this on stage every night and I mean it. I see how hard you work to be a good dad and have the schedule we have. Have the schedule you have, honestly, because you work the weekends I take off. And I just I don't know if I can do it with my mental health, honestly. I'm nervous about getting off of medication to get pregnant and stuff. That's a whole other thing. But
Right.
I mean, just the amount of work that you two do, time-wise, emotionally, just to have children and you're very cool parents, the more I see good parenting, the less I want to be one, which is weird.
Do you hear that, Melissa? We are a commercial against parenting.
Well, because it's weird because you're like, when you see parents that are bad, you're like, well, I could do better than that. But when you see good parents, you're like, well, I can't do that. That's the difference. So
like comedians.
Yeah, exactly.
At least I'm not that bad. And then you watch a really good one, you're like, I should quit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And that's how I feel being in such close proximity to you guys and your parenting. And also, I want to text your kids all the time and go, do you know how good you have it? Sorry for the bleep.
You know what, actually?
Do you have any idea how lucky you are?
Yeah.
Are you serious right now? Like, every day,
Yeah.
I want to text your children that.
If you send that text, it will get flagged on Bark Technologies.
Oh, that's right. You won't let them. You won't let them be on social media and stuff.
No, our son just got on Instagram.
Oh, just got on Instagram.
Yeah,
I mean, he's all over your Instagrams.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Which is sort of weird.
Yeah,
You're like,
he will be like, he does respond to the stories that we do sometimes now. And
is that weird?
Yeah, well, he also, I think part of it is I gave it to him. I give my son Instagram because I do well on Instagram, so he can respect me a little more.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, yeah. Oh, like, so I can make fun of his followers.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be like,
All he does is,
before you get so
stories.
cocky around this house, he hasn't posted
He hasn't
yet.
done a hard post.
Well,
Ooh.
Gen Z's
Yeah.
relationship with Instagram is so much different than us, us old timers.
They like a dump.
They like a
Like
dump.
a cash dump.
They also like a weird kind of like abstract picture of like a alley with the moon.
Username?
Weird. Yeah, their usernames are never their names.
They're not
What?
their names.
They don't do their names very often. It's kind of like when email first was getting started, which was before your time, and you're like,
and an email in.
yeah. But you wouldn't do your name at first.
But,
at first, you wanted to have like a unique. Andy, like, do you remember your first email address? Do you remember?
I do.
Yeah.
bugsb123@aol.com.
Whoa.
Right.
So good.
And I was chopping broccoli at
course you
Juno.com. At Juno, which was Juno had a moment there. What was
I was cheer
you were
Mel
Cheer Mel 'cause
at
you were an
AOL.
girl. That gets mentioned every night.
Every
on
night.
Stage. Every night on stage.
Do you know
Oh,
that?
yeah. What is it? In
Well,
my
my AOL, but I didn't have an AOL email. I just had my AOL instant messenger was Buffy fan 134.
So every night I make him say it. I go, what was your screen?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, Melissa's was Cheer Mel. I'm like, of course it was. She's so hot.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and mine was, and everyone cheers for Buffy fan.
Yeah. Well, Buffy
That's a big
is
cult.
got a lot of cult love.
Yeah.
People have come up into the lobby and shown me their like Buffy tattoos and stuff.
No, would it hold up if I watched it? I need a new Comfort Road show.
I don't know. It's a little campy.
It's at CW, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little
Yeah.
campy. Yeah, I would just if you need a vampire show, I would just do What We Do in the Shadows and
Yeah,
So
I saw
no.
a movie,
yeah,
but not the show.
yeah. It's I don't know that it would hold up. I wonder if the Buffy movie still holds up though.
I
you know
think the
anything?
Buffy movie might.
Yeah,
hold up. Like,
yeah.
That's going to hold a special time period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
Was
so.
it in
Kind of like
that
Teen
vein
Wolf.
of,
The way
like,
Teen Wolf like
eight-
holds up. I think Buffy
late
will hold up to
90s?
the same era.
right.
Yeah.
I think so.
There were
Yeah.
so many teen movies in the late 90s,
Right.
right?
I do
Yeah.
think that back to Taylor's point, I do think that is also like a shifting culture thing too in general of like
Oh yeah, people don't want to have kids.
younger millennials and
I
Gen
was gonna say
Z
that.
are
Women.
burning down
20
every
20s women.
yeah, they're
They're
burning
like,
down
no.
every institution they
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Every
Mhm.
Taylor likes to send me TikToks of Gen Z's going, I don't want to work.
Yeah.
And that is so unrelatable as a millennial, and
Yeah.
certainly as like
Yeah.
a boomer or a
Mhm.
Gen X. Like,
Yeah.
you're like, well, what would you give to this world if you? And Gen Z's like, no, I just want to make enough money and enjoy my life. And you're like, well, I don't think that you
We're like,
can.
work is everything.
And we're like, sit down. I
There
can't
is-
even wrap my head
home
around
ownership is where it's at.
Right. But I do think that, do you feel culturally, like, do you feel a pressure to have kids or anything? Because I think that's shifting as well, you know?
No. I think I said this to you when we were walking around in, I don't remember where we were, but we were on the street. And I said, I think I want to have kids for the same reason I want to watch The Last of Us. Like, I just want to be a part of the conversation. Like, I don't want to feel left out. And so
Yeah.
that's my biggest fear about not having kids is that I'm going to not have them. Everyone around me is going to have them. And then I'm going to be less and less relatable.
Right.
And, you know, there's like a level what I was always afraid of is I'm like, well, there is like this deep level of love that you don't get to experience if you don't have children. And I want to experience that deep level of love. And then the more I thought about the deep level of anxiety and fear that comes along with it, I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
I think I'm good.
I think that's exactly what I was going to say was it's not just love.
No.
It's anger.
All
It's
the emotions.
It's fear. It's anxiety. It's frustration. It's despair. It's every and a lot of those are fueled from the love. Like you're so mad that someone you love so much could be so disrespectful to you.
Yeah.
Someone you've done so much for could be so ungrateful.
Yeah.
And because you love them so much, you're so scared and you're so worried, you know? But it is every emotion. It is not constant affection all the time, you know?
No. And you don't know what the return in investment is going to be.
What's
I mean,
the ROI on kids these days?
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what if you get one that goes to jail?
That's
What if you get one that what if you get one that just sucks? What if you get one that just has a personality that you're like, ooh.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, what if you get a theater kid?
Honestly, I probably would. These are
No.
not jokes to me.
Yeah, we
I'm like, yeah, that all sounds rough. I mean, unless I got like a real quiet one that liked to read, but still somehow had friends and was like really nice to me.
Yeah.
And was like, its hobbies were like manners.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sounds cool.
That's a doll.
Respect.
Yeah, that's
You
a
just
doll.
described- You described a
I
doll.
would love a doll.
You just want a doll you could prop. You still want an American Girl doll.
I
That's
do.
what you want that you prop up in front of a book.
Samantha
That's all
loves
I
reading novels.
Samantha loves watching her mom's Netflix specials.
She loves tea. And
Did it even occur to you two coming up, you know, in the time that, not that the two of you are old by any stretch of the imagination, but like
In the late 1900s.
I remember my dad said once, he's like, it didn't even like occur to me not to have kids. Like, was it just kind of like to you guys, like, yeah, of course we're gonna have kids. Did you ever even stop to think like, should we?
Taylor, we had a kid at like 21.
That's
Do you
what
think
I'm-
we thought.
No,
Yeah,
you
no.
weren't. Okay.
No, we had friends who had a kid like as teens.
Right.
So they had like an accident or but they got married and they started their family and then they were
Going
really,
to a hockey game with them on Monday. They're all doing well.
really close to them. So then they got pregnant with their second
Uh-huh.
and we were like, oh, like if you're having a second, we should have our first.
Right.
Because then we both have babies.
Yeah.
And it was like, I know that sounds weird, but like,
I don't think it does
No,
sound
I think
weird.
there is
But
a
we were
social
like,
thing. If everyone
well, but if
around
you're
you is
having a
having
kid, then
kids,
And you
then
can
we
go
should have
through
a
it
kid.
together and then they can be
And
friends.
we did.
Yeah.
I went through that pregnancy
you
with
can go
her.
to MOPS together. You can go to mothers of preschoolers. MOPS.
And we can have babies and we can talk and hang out.
But was
and
there ever a
we
time
did.
when you were like 15, 16 where you're like, I don't really want kids? Was that ever a thing for you where you're like, no, I'm always going to be a mom?
I didn't think that way.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you guys are like
Melissa
the
doesn't think about the
overthinkers.
future in general. Yeah.
One of my friends in college was like, what's it going to be like for you to be married? And like deer in headlights, it was like the first time I ever thought about it.
I think you were engaged.
And you
at
were
that point.
engaged?
and I little Mel goes, I think I'm going to be really lonely because I've only lived in a big family and in the dorms.
Oh man, that was
Wow.
before I did
Little Mel
comedy.
That was really accurate, and it was literally the first time I had that thought, and it was because my friend pulled it out of me.
Yeah.
And then our first couple years of marriage, I was super lonely because he worked a lot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Unlike now.
I know. Sorry.
I mean, I worked a lot too, but it was just different hours.
You're just
Yeah.
bouncing between two lonely broads, aren't you? just keeping people company all
Like I
week.
keep her company 4.5 days a week. I keep you company 2.5 days a week on average.
Love it.
Yeah, that's what I said
Love
to you.
feeling with us.
Yeah. Oh, I do. No, you said that to me the other day because I got a herniated disc. Shout out. And you're like, please don't get a surgery. And I was like, I can't get a surgery because I have two addictions: you and work.
Yeah.
Like that's, and I can't slow any of those things down,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no, it is, you intense ladies, you're like you're a drug. You're like, oh my gosh. Not in a truest sense in that like, it's probably bad for me.
Yeah. That's
And-
the most comforting thing you have ever told me as my friend.
Yeah.
Is that I think it was probably during a time where I was like, I'm sorry that I'm a lot. And you were like, look, my sister's intense, Mel's intense. I'm good with intense. Like,
Yeah.
I like intense. It's
You can
interesting to
handle
me.
Yeah.
It keeps me engaged. Like I can handle it. Like I'm cut out for this. And it was so comforting and made me relax so much. And it's why you got a raise.
Boom. Pretty sure my fill-in's not getting that on Thursday, by the way.
No, probably not.
No, you have
Well,
to be a
Wouldn't it be
little-
crazy if
What
I
the-
paid them more?
What if you did? You're like, you actually
like-
made more than Dustin. And could you actually, because you're going to have the same hotel room, could you pee the bed? Actually, could you make sure, request that room service doesn't
No
come?
doesn't come
They
in.
don't, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. Well, I was gonna say, we do have one more kid that needs braces.
Well,
So
I got you.
Yeah.
Look.
She's not our only revenue stream.
I know you're
Yeah.
so fine.
I'd like to
I
take this
actually-
moment to thank our Patreons.
I know. I feel bad sometimes for not having other people open now that you're so successful because I'm like, I should probably be spreading this around a little more.
Well, you're
That
lucky
just-
for me that I don't feel successful, and I have a constant fear of panic. You said this the other week, like last weekend, though. You're like, I don't know when it's going to stop, and we did learn in the pandemic that it might all stop.
Yes.
It could just all stop for just like we already live in like a fickle industry, and also, things can get crazy. You can, Pete Lee. We just had Pete Lee on. He was talking about that like he like racked up a ton of debt during that, and he was
During
like,
COVID?
during
the
COVID,
pandemic.
yeah.
Wow.
yeah, and
Yeah.
he had he called it a nest egg.
Yeah.
He was like,
It's
I had
gone.
savings.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
and
didn't have
even
a special
stories.
drop February 2020 on Netflix.
I mean, it was March.
How do you not believe in God?
It's March 8th.
How do you
know?
God gave the world a pandemic for your Netflix special?
Well, at the time, it didn't feel like that, though. At the time,
yeah,
it felt like this was my shot and I missed it.
I'm not
This-
capitalizing.
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, there's
do
no.
promo and
Oh, I was doing promo, but it was on Zoom. It was
Yeah, yeah.
sad. And I was like,
3 years ago.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I guess by the time everything opens up again, if it ever does, I thought there was a good chance
It would never open
live
up again.
stand-up comedy was
Yeah.
over. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's just going to be on Zoom now. It's going to be terrible. And I was like, by the time everything opens up again, nobody's going to remember this special.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just going to float away and I'm not going to get a chance to do another one.
Yeah.
And maybe this job is, the saddest moment I had is when I was like, you know what? Dancers only get to dance for like 10 years. We got to do comedy for like 10 years. That's
Black
okay.
Swan over here.
Yeah, truly. Like I was really,
Yeah.
I was trying to. That was me being positive, believe it or not. So it didn't feel like that. And yeah, in hindsight, I'm like, oh, that was like the best time to
Yeah.
have that special come out.
What's the most embarrassing, cringy thing you can remember that you thought or you did during the pandemic?
Oh,
gosh.
God.
Yeah, like you know.
How much time do we have? I did so, but all the cringy stuff I did also benefited me.
Yeah.
Like
It
you and I
worked.
talk about this
It
all
worked.
the time. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm curious how Mel feels about this. Mel, when you see stand-up comedians posting videos the way Dustin and I do, or like clips or whatever, are you ever like, ooh, like, does it ever make you cringe seeing other people try, or are you always like, they're trying?
I wish I could say that I was like, good for you trying, but
Yeah.
I can get judgmental. I think
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's some locals that I'm like, ooh, like, you know,
That
But that's-
face.
but
It's
actually,
precious.
I say this to Dustin, I've said this to you, like, I'm so spoiled by you guys that I'll be like, that wasn't an ending, like, write a tag, like, because
Well,
because
Melissa, because of us particularly, she cannot stand slow comedy
Oh,
because you and I are so scared that a crowd won't like us.
like boom, boom,
that we're like,
boom.
you're getting a punchline in the middle of a punchline.
Yeah.
The joke, and it's not like we're like purists. You're like, this is how comedy should be. You're like, I'm scared you'll hate me.
Yes.
And I have to prove myself to you. Even though you sell 13,000 tickets, you're like, I better be fast or they're going to turn on me.
Yeah. 1,000%.
Yeah.
13,000%. 14,000 in Boston.
The Rockwell, June 24th.
But no,
We
that's
added a second show.
That's what's good to hear, though, because it is true. People are cringing
Yeah.
at your stuff.
Yeah.
And you just have to go, it doesn't matter. Because
Yeah.
I cringe at my stuff.
Yeah.
You have
You
to
said that
produce
before,
the
and
content.
we've
Yes.
talked about that. I think like you tell yourself, like maybe this is a thing you say to kids sometimes too. You're like, people aren't talking about you as much as you think, and they're not judging you all the time. And that is true. They aren't talking about it as much as you think, but they are talking
They're
about you.
Always talking.
They are sending you like, look at this terrible clip. They
Yep.
are, because we do that to each other.
You should see Dustin and I's DMs. It's all judgment.
It's
But
all
that's because, that's the only place you do it. But then we always follow it with like, but you know what they're really good at? Like, I think
Yeah.
we're pretty good about
yeah,
that.
we're nice comics.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, even
Well, I better be, because I just yell into my phone in airports.
Yeah.
I can't make fun of anybody for being out there trying.
everyone we respect has some stuff out there that I'm like,
Absolutely.
ooh, like everyone
Yeah.
has it. There's just too much content to not be cringy sometimes. And like, you just have to let go of that if you're going to be successful in this business now.
Right.
With how everything's changed.
Go, go, go. Yeah.
But yeah, there's just like, I would have never done Instagram sketches
Yeah.
if I were in the middle of a pandemic.
yeah.
I mean, will I ever go back and watch those? No.
No.
Am I glad that I did those? Yes.
Yeah.
Were they effective at the time? Yes. Did they get me and my ex on Good Morning America? Yes. It's so dumb, but it is not something either of us would have done
No.
if there was not I think everybody was so
Yeah.
desperate during that time.
For entertainment.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
topical.
Everyone
Yeah.
started a podcast. Everybody was
Yeah.
doing Instagram live interviews.
That's
like,
probably non-professionally or non-personally. Professionally, the lives are probably.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that I went live a few times.
yeah.
I mean, live is just the worst thing in the world to me. And I know some people do it all the time.
It still happens. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just, well, I mean, we did a lot of bad outdoor shows too. We did so many. I did a few Zoom shows I'm not proud of. There were a lot of professional mistakes, but also personally, there were like, especially now when you're like, they're like, the best thing to avoid COVID is to be outside. You're like, we better not go to the beach. Like, they close the
Oh,
beaches
yeah.
and stuff here.
Yeah.
It is like, it's not just us, it's everywhere. The joke, I think I've told you this before, that like those Facebook memories and stuff will come up and you're like so embarrassed by them. Not that you go on Facebook, but
I've heard of them.
but you look back on those things and it's kind of like looking at like junior high
Yes.
fashion choices or
time
something
capsule.
where you're
Yeah,
like,
oh,
it
no.
wasn't cringy at the time.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd was doing it. It seemed cool at the time, but
I know. I did Seth Meyers when there was no audience, and I'm like,
yeah.
hope everyone remembers history. Like, because this just looks like I'm bombing
Yeah.
in a room.
You did you hula hooped for a yogurt ad.
Oh, that's the cringiest thing. Oh, I forgot about that. That's the cringiest thing I did. I did an ad for, was it Dannon or Yoplait? It was something. I'm lactose intolerant. And I told them that. And they go, but it's Greek yogurt, so it's less lactose. And I was like, okay. And I was contractually obligated to take a bite, to eat yogurt during what was supposed to be a live Zoom stand-up show. That lasted 15 minutes. Yeah. And I was like, do I have to eat the yogurt? They're like, you have to take at least one bite. And I'm like, during a show, they want me eating the yogurt?
Oh, that's
It was-
so funny.
And there were I had to do so many videos. But it was more money than I'd ever been offered on anything. And
Yeah.
now I would never.
yeah.
But like,
the time.
God, at the time, that was.
You're like, I'll never perform live stand up to a crowd.
yeah,
ever
again, it's
So I guess
So
I
yogurt
hula.
ad, Yes, it is.
It wasn't just a yoga. She hula hooped it.
They sent me a hula hoop with like the name of the contest on it. I had to wear merch that said, I don't even remember what it was called. It was called like Let's Get Moving. I was basically Jamie Lee Curtis with Activia. It was so cringy.
Get moving.
I did see that on my Instagram, and I think I might have archived it.
Yeah.
Somewhat
Understand
recently
that.
because I forgot I did that.
That's
that
so
was
funny.
rough.
I forgot about the lactose intolerant thing too.
It's
That's
it's,
The check cleared though.
the check.
Yeah.
And I thought I didn't have a job ever
To
again.
quote the the great Lou Brockman, Vicky Barbalik's husband, the piano guy at the Lohead Comedy Store. Is the money green?
Love it. The money was green and the yogurt was white. Oh,
That reminds me of in Napoleon Dynamite, Uncle Rico.
yeah.
That guy, he's a vegetarian. Do you know he's a vegetarian? And he has the steak scene where he's like furiously
and he's
eating
like
the steak,
chomping.
and he's chomping, and you could see him take it out of his mouth.
You can?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, there's I'm presenting new things that Melissa doesn't know that I know from
That's
time to
good.
time.
That's
you know,
good.
this is the traverse bit. So
Mhm.
I do think that getting back to the single and having kids thing, like Gen Z really is burning down every institution that they can, like college,
Mhm.
traditional workforce, you know, and you in your heart so bad want to be Gen Z.
I don't know that that's true. I I don't think I want to be Gen Z. I appreciate Gen Z.
Yeah.
There are things about Gen Z that I'm kind of like, all right, Gen Z. But what I like about Gen Z is that Gen Z just goes, why? And you're like, because this is how we do it.
Oh,
and they go,
that's-
but why do we do it that way? And you're like,
Mhm.
because.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yeah.
but that doesn't, we don't have to though. And you're like,
Yeah.
why? God,
Yeah.
it like Gen Z watched the entire world realize they didn't have to go into the office.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's just them with
What a
everything now.
gift
They're like, but
for
why do
them.
you have to have kids? We're like,
Yeah.
because it fulfills you. And it's like, but what if you just do other stuff and that fulfills you? And you're like, well, because, like they're really just.
Yeah.
I think all they're doing is just questioning everything.
Yeah.
To the point where you're like, oh, I guess I don't really have an argument other than it's not what I'm used to or
Right.
comfortable with. But I guess we could all change our minds.
Yeah. They really are like at that point where like they're like an annoying 4-year-old. They just go,
Yep.
why? But why? But why? And at a certain point, you're just like, because that's the way it is. But you don't really have a good answer.
Yep.
You don't.
Mm-mm.
But it'd be really interesting because at a certain point, you still think they do. Because we think about this with our kids that you're like,
They're gonna grow up a bit.
we were
right?
talking to some friends yesterday who were like, their daughter, they're like, she's just not going to go to college. And then you're like, you know that, but is she going to get there eventually? Is she going to, and they're like, no, she doesn't want to spend the money on it. And she doesn't know that she's like college material, which isn't the insult that it used to be.
No.
It used to be like, that means you're stupid. It doesn't mean that at all. And I think even as parents, you are coming to the realization, you're like, well, college didn't serve me necessarily.
Yeah.
And it's certainly not serving my peers everywhere. And the most successful people at our age, I mean, at best, it's 50-50 if college helped them get there.
Yeah.
You just keep coming back to those questions, though, of like, I mean, how are you going to get any job, though? Like, because I remember when I worked at the rec center, we had the guest service associate. That was like a $10 an hour position before minimum wage went up. It was a little above minimum wage. And to work that, you had to have a college degree just to
Right.
check people into the gym. But I don't know, it was a
Did you?
shift. Yeah.
Well, a lot of your employees
Or
did-
they were in college.
they were in college
Yeah.
or they had college degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she sold 13,000 tickets and 14,000 tickets. But she dropped out of college.
Yeah, but only when I had enough road work to
Right.
do it. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's true.
I physically couldn't go to college anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
And back then you couldn't go online really,
Mhm.
like just anywhere.
You did enough
Yeah.
college gigs to make up for it.
Yeah, I did. I really did. But yeah, I mean, my sister just applied to grad school. Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
she can teach college. But I'm like, yeah, but then like another one of my sisters thought she was going to go to grad school, didn't, is now like working somewhere she really likes and
Right.
can probably be there for a long time. Like there's just kind of no knowing
Right.
what is going to get you in where and what it's going to turn into. But you're right. I mean, a bachelor's degree seems like it's like the entry point for a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never had a real job, so I don't really know. I haven't. Like my last
Yeah.
jobs didn't require any sort of college.
Yeah. At
Right.
Food Plantation and the waxing place.
Yeah, and European Wax Center. Those were my jobs. And then I worked at like
What did you
abusive
do?
pizza place.
What did you do at the waxing center?
I was just a front desk.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. I made appointments and tried to sell products and
Oh, yeah.
passes.
nice.
It was
Like waxing subscriptions.
yeah, where I'm like, if you buy,
Dustin did
Yeah.
at the rec center.
oh, we're like,
Like,
if you buy
subscriptions.
6.
Waxing. We offered waxing.
Oh, well, mine was like, if you
And I was
buy,
like, hey, the young guys these days, this is what they want. I'm sorry. You live in San Diego.
It'll be interesting to see how Gen Z ages,
yeah,
you know? Because I feel like if they do have kids, their kids are going to whiplash the other way.
I mean, I just feel like Gen Z has grown up watching so much online and just in the world that they're like, they don't feel like they have a future in the same way
Mhm.
like I did. I always felt like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, we have a future, we're going to live to old age, all those things. And even I'm starting not to feel that way. So Gen Z is like, why would I have kids when the world is falling
Like
apart?
a dumpster
Right.
fire.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
like a nightmare out here. Why would we do
Yeah.
that? Why would I have dead weight and name it, for the apocalypse? Like it's why would I have a backpack that cries like during the end times?
We've had this debate on the road, though, because I've said to you many times, like, I don't think that that's the case, but I can understand why Gen Z thinks that.
That it's the end of the world?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you're like,
Yeah.
well, it's always felt like this.
Well, and technically, with the exception of climate change,
yeah.
the majority of things in this world are better than they've ever been.
But I think climate change is the thing.
Right. Well, we don't believe that here on this podcast.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah,
well,
we want to appeal to all
I
states.
need to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think climate change is like the big thing.
Yeah, but I mean, realistically, you're not gonna. I mean, would someone not have a kid because you're like, well, the world will be terrible by the end of their lifetime?
Yeah.
I don't think that's even what climate change scientists are saying.
Are you sure about that?
No, because I don't believe in it. But
Oh my
are
God.
are you sure about
Oh
that?
my god, I don't want to fight with you about
No,
this.
no, no. I don't want to fight it, but I do think it's an interesting because I think there is a doom and gloom mindset to Gen Z,
Yeah.
and I understand it.
'Cause there's so much information.
You know too much.
They know too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you
they have
don't-
access.
You don't
to-
focus on the things that we've talked about before, like people actually
All the
live longer than
headlines.
they've ever used to. There's more clean water, there's more food, there's better educations, there's better human rights. Like in the history of the world, by far this is the best time to be alive.
Right.
Like 100 years ago, you can't have jobs or vote.
You can't wear pants.
Yeah, which we should go back to. Why I asked you guys to wear dresses. Yeah, gosh, it's you can't get anything done on this
my
on this podcast here.
I had a Gen X friend who did not want to have kids
Yeah.
for those exact reasons. He thought it was like the end of the world and just like, why would I want to bring a kid into this place?
Wow.
Yeah.
He's like more on like the indie punk like kind of like mindset, like
Sure.
really invested in all
Yeah.
the social scenes and was just like, no way. Like
Yeah.
I'd never bring a kid to all this mess.
Yeah, I mean, and at first when the pandemic hit, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I was wrong about this. And then now that I realized that was just the pandemic and it wasn't real.
Well,
it
have
was
you
all
watched
just-
The Last of Us? Because I have now. And let me tell you something. Have you watched it?
No.
Have you watched
I
it?
have not.
Okay.
I'm behind as well.
That whole premise of The Last of Us is that it's like fungi, and it's like apparently based on a real fungus
Oh.
that can like take over your brain or something. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, if this actually ever happens, like we're screwed.
Right.
And
right.
you're like, oh, cool. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen, I guess. Like, but it's like nuclear war. It's like all
Yeah.
the stuff where you're like, well, I hope not.
Well, yeah,
'cause-
they were saying this in the 80s with
Yeah.
Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
And, like there's always been a thing to terrify you.
Y2K.
When when I
And it's like more likely you're gonna die in a car crash. Like,
yeah,
which is, I mean, so dark.
especially me. I text so much when I
Oh
drive.
my god, that makes me nervous.
I'm getting better.
Not when he's on the road with me. Just so
Thank
you know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because I'm texting. No, I'm kidding. No, we can text for each other when we're driving. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. The pandemic really freaked me out.
Sure.
But I think more than anything, it's just that I have 3 younger siblings, and I realized through a lot of therapy, like I already feel like I parented a little bit.
Right.
I was actually going to say that
Yeah.
because as a firstborn daughter, you feel like you're going to take care of everything for everyone. And probably even more so, like my sisters were born premature. They're twins. It was traumatic. You know, they were in the hospital. My sister was on breathing tubes. So like I feel like I grew up a lot at like 2.5, you know, like I joke. I'm like, someone's got to raise these kids. Like
Right.
I had
Yeah.
2 actively involved parents, but I felt like this weight to like help these my sisters like
And then you
survive,
raised me for a while there too. Let's be honest.
So there is something to being the oldest sibling, and when traumatic stuff happens, and then you're like, you're always looking out for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you take on that weight. Yeah.
What I like about where the world is now is kind of to what you're saying. It is becoming more a la carte and customizable. And the old societal pressures just aren't there. I think with work,
they're dwindling.
Yes.
they're like work of having like a traditional 9 to 5 when you get insurance after you go to college, that's going away. You get married, you have kids, you do. I think that's going away, and that's all good because first off, those weren't even necessarily. Those were very like 20th century
Rockwell,
American,
Norman Rockwell.
Rockwell,
Yeah. Christian.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or I like particularly American Christendom, which is its own weird thing, like that doesn't even. The Christianity doesn't look like that in other places because they're like, what do you mean the women don't work?
Yeah.
Like that's an idiotic thought, you know? But I do like that about Gen Z. I just like, I guess it's like a little bit of the parents that are saying, you're like, yeah, but money.
Yeah. Right.
You still have to have a job, right? Like,
Yeah.
are you going to live here forever? I get so scared. What are you gonna do?
It's what bothers me is it's when the Gen Zers who are like, I just want to like be present and enjoy life and like do that. And then you're like, your parents pay all your bills. Like that's what bothers me. I'm
Right.
like,
You're like, just be honest.
yeah. I'm like, your parents are paying all your bills. You have a credit
Mm-hmm.
card and your parents handle everything. And so I don't really, this whole thing of
It's
like
a facade.
of like, I just think you need to be present and enjoy your life. And it's more important to be present than work too much. And you're like, okay, but that's not like super realistic for everyone.
Right,
Maybe
right.
just, cool it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to overgeneralize about Gen Z. I think there's probably, it's not all of Gen Z. We're just talking about like a very privileged thin layer on
the
TikTok.
ones who are making TikToks.
The ones who are making TikToks.
The rest of Gen Z is like, no, I have jobs.
Yeah.
I work.
Yeah, my youngest sister has gotten more jobs, like is so good at getting jobs. And Gen Z is, like.
That is very, they might be the vocal minority of Gen Z because like our kids are, 2 of our kids are Gen Z and the last one will be Gen A. But like they're like, yeah, we should get jobs and we'll go to school. And what do I want to do for a living? And your middle kids like, I want to be like a paramedic. And you're like, oh, you guys aren't thinking like that necessarily, but you're also not making front-facing TikToks.
Yeah.
For everyone to see.
Yeah. It's funny too because everyone thinks of, Gen Z or even like millennial. I think a lot of people think of younger people as just wanting to be famous. And I think a lot of people do. I know you've told me that, like kids that go to school with your kids like want to be YouTubers and
Right.
But I think there's just as many people who are like, yeah, I just want to work enough at a coffee shop or a bookstore or restaurant or someplace I like to be and live my life on the weekends. And I don't have like some greater calling to be in whatever specific job or industry or like an entertainer. Like I don't think that's all of them. I think I really respect and envy young people who are like, and really anyone of any age who's like, I have this job that I go to. I don't hate it. It's chill.
Yeah.
I make enough to live on. I have my weekends to myself.
Yeah.
I like live near my family and friends.
Yeah.
I have a full, rich life, and I don't have any desire to like become something greater than I am. Like, I don't have that. I just want to be happy and at peace.
Yeah.
So you told me once, you were like, if you really cared about curing your anxiety, you would not be doing this job. And I'm like, whoo,
Did I say that? Ooh.
that's a truth bomb. I mean,
Ooh, I'm sorry I said that.
are you?
That's a little. Every once in a while, you repeat something back to me. I'm like, oh, my bad. That might have been a heat of the moment thing.
Oh no,
I was like, did I say it like that?
I'm like, that's tattooed on my heart. Is that not? Did you
No,
say that flippantly?
I stand by that for myself too.
Yeah.
That you're like, well, if I really wanted to sleep better, I would not be on social media at all. Like, I certainly wouldn't post there.
But you know why it makes me feel better is I go, I can always stop.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like that's where it helps me. Is I go, it's not like you've done everything you could do to feel better.
Yeah.
You could quit.
Yeah. It sounds great. You could do the thing now where you have a kid. If you ever did have a kid, you could like Dana Carvey it and just disappear for a while too.
Oh, and just do like one corporate gig a year.
Yeah.
Or a month
for like $100,000.
I mean, I'm not that famous. Dana Carvey was very famous.
Yeah.
When he did that.
But you couldn't, but a year and a half maybe.
We'll see. Everyone's so famous now.
Everyone is so famous.
Everyone's
it's a
so
real
famous.
comedy boom right now.
Yeah.
So
That's like
DustinNickerson.com/shows. Would love to see you get a bump there.
Will Ferrell was on a podcast I was listening to, Fly on the Wall.
Yes.
Dana Carvey and David
Sorry,
Spade.
I was thinking about
Taylor
that.
did it.
It's coming out in like 3 months or something.
Okay, well,
I
that's
did it
why
like 6 months ago.
No, because it's not out yet.
Oh yeah, no,
Right?
it's not out yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll definitely listen to it.
I don't think so. Anyway,
But Will Ferrell was on there and he was talking about how he's got teens, kids, and they go to Sweden every summer. And his kids know Swedish, and I think his wife's might be Swedish. And so there's cousins there and stuff. And that is a very famous person who is able to work around and like take summers off.
Yeah.
And like work-life balance. You know, you're like, oh, that's really cool.
They always love to paint that picture. And then what they don't say is like, oh, also I was gone for 6 months straight on set somewhere.
Yeah, that's like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Like he's so hot and does movies constantly.
She means like hot, like entertainment wise. She's not
got heat.
Yes, he's got heat.
He's got a lot of heat.
Yeah.
And she's like pregnant with her fourth, and their kids are little.
Yeah.
And that's really challenging. Andy knows he has 4 little kids.
He's here on a Friday night with
yeah. And you just hear like the Thor actor
Chris Hemsworth.
You know, they're like, he's like, it's so hard to be on set like all this time, and
so much harder than stand up.
On location, and anyways, that seems like the hardest thing. Yeah,
you did it. Blake Lively described him as like a family man. She's like, he is like a family man, and you've adopted that, which I appreciate because people are like,
I do say that. I do say that when people ask that generic question, like, "What's that like?" or, "Oh, he sure travels a lot, right?" You know, and then I'll say like, "Yeah, he's a family man though. Like, he's always checking in with us, and you know, carrying
the only
load."
time I refer to myself in third person is as dad.
Yeah.
Like
I do like that word though.
Dad?
No, family man.
Yeah.
Because the guy at the comedy store, he calls you wife guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave Waite, every time he sees me, goes, wife guy, Dustin Nickerson. And then he'll go, my wife. He does Dave Waite's very funny. So, well, good stuff, Tay. Let's do a couple Patreon questions. Can we do that before we get you out of here?
Yeah.
I think you almost answered one.
Yeah, there's a couple in here. Okay, this one is from Adam. Adam Bush. It's a comedy question. When do you know you're finished with a bit? As in, how do you know there isn't anything else to mine in that premise? I'll answer first. When I recorded on a special.
100%. Yep. And sometimes not even then. Then you think of something after and you're like, well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Too late.
I did that with the therapy bit. I couldn't tell my dad I was thirsty, And in the special, I end there, but then on
Swallow my spit.
but that's going to be on the Corden taping. So there you go.
great.
It'll be a little thing. So that's where I'll post it on the socials
Nice.
for more than 60 seconds because TikTok wants longer clips. Gosh, I hate it so much.
I hate it so much.
Okay, this is a quick one. This is Isaac Taron. He's in the Coast Guard. For all of you, what's better, pancakes or waffles? This is the question he wanted. Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Pancakes. And he said, trick question, the answer is French toast. Isaac.
Oh, okay. I mean, you're not wrong, Isaac,
Yeah.
but calm down.
Yeah, let's relax.
Yeah.
I wanted to
He's a
read.
real silly guy.
Yeah, he's a silly patron. He's a Coast Guard man out in Hawaii. What I wanted to read this one, though, because one thing that we have been doing and the three of us experienced recently at breakfast, we like to get a pancake for the table.
Yes.
A
Yes.
pancake,
And
because we're all...
Kinsey called it a table pancake.
Yeah.
Table pancake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause we're all adults.
Yep.
No one needs a whole pancake, and you certainly don't need a stack of pancakes.
No.
Don't be
As like
ridiculous.
a main entree.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. But one for the table, you really only want about a third, a fourth of the pancake.
Yeah.
Taylor, do it on the road because you need a win on the road.
We got a free pancake at a snooze because there was lipstick on Dustin's cup.
Mhm.
And she goes, "Do you want a free pancake?" And we're like, "Okay."
Yeah,
And it was a great
it was a great
blueberry
pancake. At first, I was mad that she didn't be like, "Oh, let me comp one of the things you did order."
Yeah.
But she was like, and then we got that pancake. I'm like, I'm really glad we got that.
I'm really glad we got that loose pancake.
This is a regional question. So, question for you, Taylor and
Regional
Melissa.
question.
I just moved to Point Loma for the
Oh.
Navy and was wondering what you recommend doing in the area. If y'all have any spots, because I know y'all do. You were in North Park today.
Is that Point Loma?
Point Loma is Point Loma is San Diego.
Oh, is it?
I know you're such a poser, San Diego.
I
Temecula, these Temecula's.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not
You
the
were
person.
you thought North Park was cool today though.
Yeah, North Park's so cool.
Yeah.
Love North Park.
North Park's our cool area. Point Loma has a cool little market area. You should go to
It's like
that.
a
I forget what
food
it's called.
market.
Okay.
Oh, because the university. Point
No,
Loma University.
There's just so
Right?
it's the old like Navy barracks and stuff, and then they turned it into all these various things, like a whole food hall,
Oh, okay.
like food market. And then there's like a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. You got anything, Andy?
Encinitas,
Yeah.
like every beach north of
yeah.
Yeah.
20
Oh, yeah.
miles. I mean,
That's my
Amazing.
favorite
Hit every
beach is
single one.
Moonlight.
Beach.
Yeah,
That's my favorite
Moonlight,
one. Is the best beach in San Diego.
Seaside,
Yeah.
give to Cardiff.
Little Italy, Coronado.
Lily.
Balboa.
Okay, next question. For Taylor, how long have you been doing comedy before you went on Last Comic Standing, which was the first time I saw you? What was
Not long enough.
And what was the whole experience like being judged by other comedians?
Oh God. Well, I started when I was 16. I was 20 or 21 when I did the show. I think I was 21. And but I was in high school for the first couple years that I was doing stand up. So I wasn't like doing it consistently. So I wasn't doing stand up consistently until I was like 19 or 20, and then I was on this massive show like at 21. And I would not recommend that to anybody. I just think it was too early, like, for me to be on TV. That feels cringy that I did that when I was that young and probably kind of green and hacky or whatever. And the experience was just, like, honestly, like, surreal because I grew up watching that show. But really anxiety inducing, and I didn't enjoy it.
Right.
I felt really out of place there. I felt like I was only there. I only made it as far as I did because I was so young. I was like the youngest person there.
Like you were a circus act or something?
Yeah, it's all casting. I mean, it really is. So I didn't really feel like it didn't like hit for me in a way where I was like, this proves I'm a great comedian. It was
And they
just like,
appreciate your work.
Has anything ever done that for you though?
my first Conan set. Once I had a Conan set and it had
I was
gone
there
well.
for that.
Yeah. And then my Tonight Show set felt that way. My first couple late night sets made me feel like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm a comedian now.
I think that's the value of late night.
Yes.
Is it really, because it doesn't necessarily give you this big boost, but it does make you feel like, oh, I'm like a real boy.
Yeah. Yeah. And this last special, because I was like, oh, cool. It's not a fluke.
Look at you.
Yeah. But it took 2 specials.
This is a follow-up quiz. This is kind of related, actually. This is from Bonnie Galindo. She said, "Did you know early on that you wanted to be a comedian, or did you find it to be more therapeutic and found you were really good at it and ran with it?"
I think the latter.
Yeah. We were like, "Oh, I'm good at this."
Yeah, I think I was surprised. I think I found it therapeutic and I was good at it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm like kind of in love with this. And even then I didn't think I could do it professionally for, a few years. I was like doing it like, oh, I'll be a teacher and do this on the weekend.
Right. It was a big NACA you had. What was the final, or was it Last Comic, or what was like I can do this financially? NACA, yeah.
Yeah.
Same as Zoltan.
Because you book out so many weeks and tours.
Yeah. So, that's because the bulk booking, right? Where they're like...
But even then, I was like, well, this will be great for a year or two, but then I don't know. You never know. Like every year, you're like, I think I just got to a point now where I'm like, don't think I have to go back to school. Like it really took a long time. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, that's so funny.
But I had, you know.
I get that.
Yeah.
I really just needed someone to tell me like, oh, if you don't make it, it's your own fault. And that was kind of what made the shift for me, where I was like, oh, I need to actually like try. Because I was just scared to try. I was like scared to want it.
Right.
Well, that's what Will Ferrell said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he?
It took him years.
I think I think I feel that same
scared.
thing. Yeah. You're scared. It's kind of embarrassing to say that
embarrassing.
you want to be this thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, young comics, don't post clips too early for that reason.
Don't do it.
Two more quick ones. This one's from Daryl. He's a new patron, actually. My question to Taylor is, why is your Sydney show on the same night that I have to coach my son's soccer team? Tuesdays during soccer season are never good for me. Please keep that in mind of your 2024 tour down under. Thanks, P.S. Bring Dustin with you next year.
I'll move it. I'll move it. You heard it here first. I'm moving it for Daryl.
I mean, Tuesday. I didn't realize you were doing Tuesday.
I didn't realize that either.
Thanks for the.
It's got to be at 8. Daryl, you can pull
Daryl.
this off, Daryl.
What time are they doing soccer practice in Australia?
Yeah, just leave
That's
it
a cute
early.
question, though.
That was cute.
That was cute. I love it when people are like,
Call your bluff.
hey, can you not come to town the one weekend I'm on vacation? Thanks.
Yeah.
You're like, sure, I'll get right on that.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
It's just, it's a cute comment.
This one actually, it kind of relates to the other things that we said. This is from Tammy Brugger. For Taylor, were you financially independent as a comedian before you were even 18?
No.
Was there conflict with your plans after high school and doing comedy? I guess we kind of spoke to that one a little bit earlier.
Yeah, no, I wasn't financially independent until I was 20 or 21.
What was? Hold on, let me find it.
21.
You had a joke about what's the thing on the bed behind you? The headboards.
Oh, I lost my virginity when I was financially independent?
Yeah.
Like I had a headboard. Did I have a line about I had a headboard?
Yeah.
I think you were talking about boyfriends that didn't have headboards.
About, how it was so late and that I had bought a headboard or something.
Oh, I had an IKEA painting that I had purchased, something like that. Yeah, it was something like that.
That's a good joke.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I could have moved out when I was... No, that's not true. I was financially independent at 21. That's when I was full-time as a comedian.
Yeah.
And when I moved to LA. So, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Very impressive.
Well, thanks for the questions, everybody. Taylor, thanks for doing the pod.
Yeah, of course.
It's great to have you, everybody. Oh, we forgot to eat those Girl Scout cookies. We'll do it another time.
Okay.
We don't need to. Yeah.
Unless you want to. Do you want to eat it?
I don't feel strongly about it.
No.
It's up to you.
Let's go have tacos. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you guys listening.
All right, bye.
Hey, thanks for listening, everyone. We want to give a special shout out to our as Essential as Oils patrons. That's our $25 a month and up patrons. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to Adam Bush,
Averill Griffiths,
Bonnie Galindo,
Carrie T,
Code to Grow,
Courtney Eibling,
Demarius Diaz-Stevens,
Dave and Melissa Cox,
Dave Hoagland,
Farrah Journey,
Isaac Teron,
Jennifer Ashley Downs,
Jessica Sewell,
Jordan Cowan,
Juliana Smith,
Lori Amos,
Nathan and Jennifer Merritt,
Nicole Caros,
Rachel Wilson,
Rachel Kennedy,
Robert and Nellie Capin,
Tiffany Payne,
Trey Turner, and
Jason
Jason
White.
White. Jason, you got both of us on that last one. Thank you guys so much for your support. It means the world to us.
Thank you.